YouTube, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to another segment of Fact Fridays. If you're new to me and my channel, my name is Shanita, and each week I look forward to bringing you an historical fact pertaining to African American history. Today is August 28th, 2020, and at the beginning of this video, you saw the quote, "It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality." Martin Luther King Jr. On this day in 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered one of his most famous speeches in history. It would be called his "I Have a Dream" speech, where he spoke in front of thousands at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Traditionally, everyone is familiar with the most popular portion of his speech, which begins with his statements, "I have a dream that one day," and he proceeds to explain the ideas and hopes from his dream. During the March on Washington, several leaders from across the country, both women and men, spoke up about racial inequalities and workers' rights. You're probably wondering why I chose that quote from his speech. Well, it's simple. Despite this statement being made 57 years ago, it's still unfortunately a reality. For far too long, the Negro's discontent has been a factor in many of our race-related problems. The biggest factor of which is that often Blacks' discontentment doesn't come off as legitimate despite how very legitimate it really is. How many more sweltering summers, the senseless murders and brutality against the Black community are we going to have to endure before we face an autumn of freedom and equality? In 2023, the March on Washington of 1963 will have been 60 years ago, and to date, not much has changed. I think it's time we start using our history to actually enact change by facing the reality of our past rather than ignoring it. Well, that's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed today's Fact Friday fact. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you join me next week for more enlightenment and, of course, the facts. Thank you for watching, and enjoy a brief clip from the historic March on Washington of 1963.
However, we know that this is not going. We believe that it's going to have its effect on the image of our country all over the world, because it will indicate that not only are Negroes struggling to achieve a transition from second-class to first-class citizenship, but that our white brothers and sisters are marching arm in arm with the Negro citizens of the country for the purpose of achieving this objective. And consequently, this is and has been a great American experience. I think it...
Roman Catholic group interracial commission, which was represented here, that we, I think, proved that our judgment was right. The thing we wanted to do was to get in behind the leadership of the Negro community. Clearly, the religious leader of this occasion was Martin Luther King, and we are proud to have served behind and strengthening the witness that he's been carrying. The other thing is that we did produce a non-segregated march.
Find the answers in the light of reason. Can we be certain that the apostles of hatred will not search for the answers in the darkness of night? And I believe that the real significance of what we have started here today is that we have laid the groundwork for the building of a functioning, broad coalition of Americans from all walks of life, from all points of view, from all races and creeds and color, who can carry on not only the common struggle to achieve an effective and meaningful civil rights legislation, but who can do this practical work, the day-to-day job of fighting discrimination in education, in housing, in employment, in public accommodations. And I think this is the true significance of what we have started today.
Pleasure now to present the moral leader of our nation, one who has conducted a massive moral campaign in the southern area of the nation against the citadel of racism. Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Thank you, Mr. Randolph. I would simply like to say that I think this has been one of the great days of America. And I think this march will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, demonstrations for freedom and human dignity ever held in the United States.